This is Charter Local Edition Northwest in the Capitol Building of Salem, Oregon, and we're here to tell you what your state lawmakers are working on for you. My guest is Mark Johnson. He's the Republican representative from Hood River. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us what you're doing for the high school students who are going on to junior college with the new Oregon Promise.
Well, thanks for asking. That's been a really important focus of mine. I think you might know, and I think our listeners might be aware, that in the last legislative session we passed the Oregon Promise, which basically is a way of providing tuition waivers to qualifying high school students to help them be able to access some degree of post-secondary education. It can be community college, it could be a career college and so forth, but to access it and not have to worry about the cost. As we all know, the cost of higher education is growing.
Staggering.
And we want to do everything we can do to keep debt from just burdening someone even after they've graduated. So the Oregon Promise has been tremendously exciting for people right now. I think we've got at least, 11,000 applicants thus far across the state who have filled out the application, said we want to be one of these students. So we'll end up seeing how many actually stick. But we also know at the same point in time that we're going to have a lot of students new students coming into the system, that we need to do something to make sure that we're retaining those students and getting them to completion. The legislature received an audit a year ago from the Secretary of State here in Oregon that said we've got some real issues with our completion rates at the community college level. So throughout the whole interim since last session, I've been working on a bill that focuses on some money that was actually set aside in the last session and takes that, it's not a new appropriation, but it just appropriates in a very targeted, focused way to make sure that all 17 community colleges in Oregon are going to be able to have the same type of student support services, so that we can not just have more students attending and going to our colleges, but actually getting completion. And we're talking about measures like faculty support, faculty professional development, to make sure that as faculty are engaging with students, that they're not just lecturing to kids, but they're actually understanding to pick up on warning signs that somebody might not be doing well, to engage them in the curriculum and so forth, just to make college a more meaningful experience. We're also talking about a first-year experience for every new student, meaning they have to take a course that's going to help them understand what it takes to be a successful student. We don't assume that they know how to navigate the system, know how to study well, know how to take notes, all that kind of stuff. What do you have to be a successful student? In addition, we have to make sure that every college has a full-time program on site where there's tutorial help available, mentoring available for students as well. So it's a very cohesive effort that I think, again, it's a very small fiscal ask. It's only about $2.5 million. It's going to allow us to put in place these really, really important metrics to make sure that our new students aren't just attending, but they're actually going to get to completion. And under the Oregon Promise, that they get to completion, they're not going to have that mountain of debt on their backs either. So if they go on to a 4-year institution, they'll be in better shape, or if that's the end of the line, maybe the associate's degree is all that they have to, all that they need to achieve right now. They're ready for the workforce, and they can go out and be successful. So that's been our primary focus this February session.
Are you seeing a large number of students taking advantage of this now that it's available?
Well, it's right. We're right in the application phase now. They won't actually be coming into the college environment until September.
Right.
So we won't know exactly how many we have until they finally show up, but all the numbers point to an increased number of first-time students next year. So that's very exciting.
Oh, good. Then it's doing what it's supposed to do.
We hope so.
And you represent the Hood River area.
I do.
Anything you're doing particularly
Hood
for
River
those
in the
constituents?
Mount Hood area, exactly. House District 52 is all of Hood River County. It's all of the Columbia Gorge, as well as all of the Mount Hood area as well. So one of the issues that we have in our area is about recreational liability. Supreme Court decision a year ago kind of cast some questions about pre-activity release forms. If you go skiing, if you go rafting, if you go do mountain biking, windsurfing, exactly.
Huge.
What kind of protections are there for the business owner? We have been working on this recreational liability issue, and I'm glad to say just before I joined you here on the set, was able to get some language into a bill that just came out of House Revenue relating to the Oregon Tourist Commission, who are going to be doing some research, and there's going to be a work group going on into this next session, into this next year, to actually look for barriers to expansion of recreational opportunities in Oregon. And I know that the director from Oregon Tourism Commission is very interested in taking a comprehensive look across the state of Oregon and all the regions what areas of the state regarding recreational tourism could be impacted negatively if we don't find some kind of resolution on how we define liability. It's a really thorny, it's a complicated question because you get attorneys involved, you get business involved, but the issue isn't going to go away. So I'm hopeful that the work that will be happening in the interim on this topic will lead to some legislation we'll have ready for the 2017 session and hopefully provide some resolution to this issue so that in Oregon we can continue to bring, invite people here to do the wonderful world-class snowboarding and, as you mentioned, windsurfing, kiteboarding, skiing, mountain biking, all of that, because it's a real part of our economy here in Oregon, and it's only going to continue to grow as we go forward.
Well, it's some of the best in the country.
It really is. We're really fortunate to be able to live here.
Mark, thank you. We
Thank
appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very
Mark
much.
Johnson, the representative from Hood River. I'm Dana Cowley. Thank you for watching. This is Charter Local Edition Northwest in Salem, Oregon.